right, ready? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And welcome everyone to my personal tour and also the tour of the origin of Boston sports. I'm Bernie Corbett, your host here this afternoon. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Hello everyone, I'm Bernie Corbett, the host of the games people play. We begin here at the Fours Boston, our host studio, if you will, on the second floor, going back from June until its unfortunate demise on August 31st of this year when the Fours sadly was no more. But thank you to Peter Colton, the impresario, the owner here of the Fours Boston, a great friend for over a quarter century, and a great host to us here in the beginning of our Games People Play experience. Pleased to be back on location at Geno's in Mansfield, Mass. And if you're in the Mansfield, Mass area, please check it out. You can't go wrong with the chowder and pretty much everything else on the menu.
Filming the post-game chowder?
Yeah.
And I am a chowder connoisseur.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. I'm a true New Englander with the chowder. Once again with our little man, our logo. Yep. You're welcome, John. Thank you. Hope to be back again soon.
Behind me is one of the most famous moments in all of sports, let alone hockey and let alone Boston sports, and that was Bobby Orr depicted flying through the air with his Stanley Cup winning goal. I can remember a Christmas where there was a couple of Bruins tickets. Those precious, precious tickets were in my stocking for a trip to the Garden to be able to see Bobby Orr. They were a very rare and treasured commodity at that time. In addition to seeing Bobby Orr play, also to see Larry Bird. I was here the night that Larry Bird stole the ball against the Detroit Pistons in Game 5 of the 1987 playoffs as a memorable moment in Boston Celtics history. And beyond that, of course, the concerts going all the way back to 1974 when I saw my first concert here. Also, at a very young age, we were rabid Boston University fans. My mother and father, both graduates of Boston University, and my grandfather growing up. And that led to my first Beanpot in 1971 when I was finally allowed out on a school night on a Monday night for Beanpot Monday to be able to see Boston University win the Beanpot in 1971. And then also Boston University won a national championship here in 1972, and I had a chance to experience that with my mom and dad and my younger brother. It was a great moment for Boston University and a great moment for our family to see BU win a national championship here. Then went on and have gone on to the present day to be the voice of Boston University hockey. And I've called the Beanpot in the Garden going back to the original building and now to the current building, all the way back to my first year doing the play-by-play in 1986. Great significance for my family. I've got the Navy P coat on for our tour. My dad was a Navy veteran, graduate of Boston University. But before that, my dad tended goal for Stoneham in the original Garden and in another building that we're going to see a bit later on. All right, so that's cool, right? Good start. Yeah, appropriately, we are here at Matthews Arena, once known as the Boston Arena, the oldest indoor arena in North America, 1909. It's played a big part in my story. It's where I saw my first Boston University hockey game back in 1967. There was a guy that I'd spent a little bit of time with in my life named Jack Parker that was the captain of the BU hockey team. But I was hooked. My parents, they went to all the games. They had season tickets. But everything started in this building. The Boston Bruins started here in 1924 as the first American team in the National Hockey League. The Boston Celtics began here. The very first Beanpot was played here before it moved over to Causeway Street. I had a great experience here, one of the most memorable of my entire career, in 2015. When I had the opportunity to host the Hobey Baker ceremony covered on national television, and Boston University's Jack Eichel was the winner. But great history, restored building all the way back to its original incarnation, once and forever, to those of a certain age, the Boston Arena.
Burn the boats, mission accomplished, promise fulfilled, potential realized. The Terriers of Boston University are the 2009 national champions, the fifth in the grand annals of a program that began in 1917.
This was the home of Boston University hockey from 1971 until 2005. And it is the Case Athletic Center, which home inside to Walter Brown Arena. And that was my home to call Boston University hockey from the time that I took over as the play-by-play voice of Boston University hockey in 1985 until its final game in January of 2005 against the University of Minnesota. Boston University actually closed Walter Brown Arena on one night against the University of Minnesota and opened Agganis Arena the very next night. This is a place that has really been near to my heart from the time that I attended Boston University and was the hockey manager here. Even slept in here a couple of nights over the years. And before that, all the way back to the actual opening of this building in November of 1971, where myself and the other members of my family, my younger brother, and mom and dad all had season tickets. A lot of great memories in this building where the Terriers truly were a dominant hockey program over the course of those 3+ decades. The low roof, the band, the noise, the buzz of the fans. I'll always say it was worth the goal a game every night that Boston University laced them up and dropped the puck here at Walter Brown Arena. But great to have you here, a longtime Red Sox fan. I've probably been to Fenway, I don't know, maybe 1,300 times in my life, give or take.
Started coming right here in 1977. That was the summer I was 16, and that's when I really started coming in on my own and with my friends, and I would come into the bleachers, and the bleachers were $1, and you could come in, it was all unreserved, and you could just make a run for it when the gate opened and go in and try to reserve the seats, and the goal was always to get to the first row of the bleachers in center field. That was the those are the seats that you wanted, and then in order to reserve the seats, you could put a hat on a seat, you put a shoe, a sock, maybe another shoe. You wouldn't want to try to disrobe and get arrested, but you get the feeling anyway. Memories of being in the bleachers, spent most of my time early on in the bleachers, and pretty good value if you consider the price of tickets for professional sports now, let alone the price of tickets here at one of the priciest venues, which is Fenway Park. The excitement of this ballpark and the proximity of the ballpark with the fans and the fan experience at this ballpark is still second to none, which is why it hasn't been replaced, and fortunately it's still standing. As people talk about the rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees, they say it was like the rivalry between a hammer and a nail for many years, and the Red Sox unfortunately were the nail. But that changed in 2004, and I was here for games 4 and 5 of the ALCS, those two epic games, in my seats, which I've had since 1987. That's been my home away from home here at Fenway as a season ticket holder for some 33 years. And over here, geez, we got to get a shot of the House of Blues, and had a lot of memorable nights since the opening of the House of Blues. Caught a lot of great shows here, and a lot of the great bluesmen there from back to Chicago with Muddy Waters and Sonny Boy Williamson and Elmore James. There's going to be another music venue going in over here also, the MGM Club, which is under construction, which I'll probably be frequenting at some point as a lifelong music aficionado. And now here we are at the statue of the teammates, and the teammates were a special bond between 4 very prominent players in the history of baseball. I had the opportunity to meet Ted Williams, to interview Johnny Pesky on a couple of occasions, and one of the teammates that I did not meet Dom DiMaggio, but Bobby Dorr actually lived next door to my great uncle. My mother, a lifetime Red Sox fan, lifelong diehard Red Sox fan. Her favorite player, going back to the 40s, was Uncle Jim's neighbor, Bobby Dorr, the Hall of Fame second baseman for the Red Sox. And of course, from Red Sox history, Big Papi, David Ortiz, those two absolutely seminal games from the 2004 playoffs with the Red Sox coming back from 3-0 to defeat the New York Yankees. And it was Big Papi that delivered David Ortiz in games 4 and 5 to bring the Red Sox back, to eventually come all the way back, unprecedented, from 3-0 to defeat the Yankees and go on to win their first World Series in 86 years, which also I had a chance to be in attendance for at Busch Stadium in St. Louis for games 3 and 4. This is the commemorative plaque, which pretty much says it all. The new Fenway Park, 1912 built, reconstructed in 1934. I don't go back quite that far, but did make my first visit here to Fenway Park during the Impossible Dreams summer. It was a very special summer in 1967. Was very proud of the fact that my grandfather, who was my big baseball influence, was able to take me. So many great memories. As we talked about, probably somewhere around 1,200 of them. That's all right. That's okay. You'd be an extra. You'd be an extra in our movie. Yeah, exactly.
John, thanks very much. We really appreciate you joining us here today. So, for Andy Bernstein, our executive producer, this is Bernie Corbett saying, play well, everyone.